Have you ever thought to yourself, I am too old to start over? Maybe you are 25 years old and you feel like you have already missed your chance to do something meaningful. Maybe you are 35 and you see everyone else ahead of you, and you wonder how they got there while you are still stuck. Or maybe you are 42 years old, and when you think about chasing your dream, there is a voice inside your head that whispers quietly but persistently, it is too late for you. If you have ever felt that the best years of your life are behind you, that you have wasted too much time, that starting now would be completely pointless, then this story is for you. Because once upon a time, there was a woman who believed she was too old at 42 years of age, until one unexpected moment showed her that the best chapter of her life had not even begun yet. Stay with me until the end of this story, because what you are about to hear might change everything you believe about age and possibility. In a quiet suburb of a busy city, there lived a woman named Elena. She was 42 years old, worked in an accounting firm, and lived what everyone around her called a stable life. But deep inside, Elena felt completely hollow, like a house with all the lights on but nobody home. Every single morning, she would stand in front of her bathroom mirror and look at her reflection. She would notice the lines around her eyes that had not been there 10 years ago, the gray strands in her hair that seemed to multiply every week, and she would think to herself, where did all the time go? When did I become this person? You see, Elena had dreams once upon a time, big, beautiful, ambitious dreams that made her heart race when she thought about them. At 22 years old, she wanted to be a writer. She wanted to tell stories that would move people, that would make them think and feel and see the world differently. But people around her said, writers do not make money, Elena. You need to be practical. So she listened to them and got a degree in accounting instead, telling herself that she could always write later when she had more time and more security. At 28, she thought seriously about starting her own business. She had ideas, energy, and a little bit of savings. But then, life got busy the way life always does. Rent needed paying. Bills kept coming. Safety and stability seemed so much smarter than risk and uncertainty, so she stayed where she was, in her comfortable but unfulfilling job. At 31, she considered going back to school to study psychology, which was something she truly loved and felt passionate about. But she thought to herself, I am too old to be a student again. Everyone else in the program will be in their early 20s. I will look ridiculous. So she pushed that dream aside too. At 35, she saw a friend from college launch a successful startup company. The news hit her like a punch to the chest. It was not just envy she felt, although there was definitely some of that. It was regret, deep and painful, mixed with a terrible sense of having wasted precious time. At 38 years old, she made a detailed list of all the things she wanted to do someday. She wrote it carefully in a beautiful notebook and put it in her drawer. The list sat there untouched for years, gathering dust along with all her postponed dreams and forgotten ambitions. And now, at 42, she felt like time had completely run out, like a game where the buzzer had already sounded and she had been left standing on the sidelines, never having gotten her chance to play. She watched younger colleagues at work get promoted to positions she had once dreamed of having. She saw 25-year-olds launching businesses and taking risks that she had been too afraid to take. She read articles about 30-year-old entrepreneurs on magazine covers, and every single time, the voice in her head grew louder and more insistent. "You are too old now." The voice would say, "You have wasted too much time. Everyone else started earlier than you did. It is too late for you to catch up. You missed your window of opportunity. Just accept it and move on." Her husband noticed the sadness in her eyes. "Elena, you seem different lately," he would say with concern. "You seem sad, like something is weighing on you." She would smile weakly and tell him, "I am fine, really. I am just tired from work." But the truth was, she was not tired from work at all. She was tired from carrying the heavy weight of unlived dreams on her shoulders every single day. She was tired from the constant ache of, what if that never went away? She was tired from feeling like life was happening to everyone else around her, while she just stood still in one place, frozen by the belief that her time had already passed her by. On the evening of Elena's 42nd birthday, her husband threw her a small party at their home. Friends came over with warm smiles and kind words. There was a chocolate cake that her husband had ordered specially from her favorite bakery. There were thoughtful gifts wrapped in colorful paper. Everyone gathered around and sang happy birthday while she tried her best to smile. But when they placed the cake in front of her, with 42 candles flickering in the dim light of the dining room, something deep inside Elena completely shattered into 1,000 pieces. She looked at those 42 candles burning brightly, and all she could think was, 42 years of my life. More than half of my expected lifetime is already gone. And what have I actually done with all those years? What do I have to show for all that time? She excused herself politely, telling everyone she just needed a moment. She went to the bathroom, closed the door behind her, and sat down on the cold tile floor. And for the first time in many, many years, she let herself cry. Not gentle tears that you can wipe away quickly. Deep, body-shaking sobs that came from years and years of suppressed longing and disappointment. She cried for the writer she had never become, for all the stories she had never written. She cried for the business she had never started, for all the risks she had been too afraid to take. She cried for the psychologist she could have been, for all the people she might have helped. She cried for all the different versions of herself that had died quietly over the years, because she had listened to the voice that kept saying, "You are too old. It is too late. You missed your chance." Her best friend Maria found her there about 20 minutes later, sitting on the bathroom floor with mascara running down her face. Maria did not say anything at first. She just sat down on the floor beside Elena in her nice party dress and waited quietly, the way good friends do when someone is breaking apart. Finally, after the tears slowed down a little, Elena whispered in a broken voice, "I have wasted my entire life, Maria. I am 42 years old now. It is too late for me to start anything meaningful. I missed all my chances. I waited too long." Maria looked at her friend for a long moment, and then she said something that Elena would remember for the rest of her life. "Elena, my grandmother, started painting when she was 78 years old. Before that, she had never picked up a paintbrush in her entire life. And do you know what she told me? She said that was the first time in her whole life that she felt truly alive, truly herself." Elena wiped her tears and looked at Maria with confusion. "But I am not 78, Maria. I am 42. Everyone else in my field started when they were in their 20s. I am already so far behind. How am I supposed to catch up now?" Maria smiled sadly at her friend and said, "And where are all those people who started in their 20s now? Some of them succeeded, yes, but some of them failed completely. Some of them are still searching, still trying to figure out what they really want. The only real difference between them and you is that they started trying, not because they were younger than you are, not because they had more time than you have, but simply because they made a decision to begin, regardless of their age or circumstances. Elena looked down at her hands and asked quietly, "But what if I fail? What if I try and I am terrible at it? What if I waste even more time?" Maria reached over and took Elena's hand in hers. "What if you do not try at all? That is the real failure, Elena. Not trying and failing, but never trying in the first place. That is what you will regret when you are 78. Not that you tried at 42 and failed, but that you never tried at all." The next morning, still feeling shaken and raw from her birthday breakdown the night before, Elena did something she had not done in many years. She went to a small, cozy coffee shop that she used to love when she was younger. She brought a blank notebook with her and tried to write something, anything at all. Just one page, just a few sentences to prove to herself that she could still do it. But the page stayed completely blank for more than an hour while she sat there staring at it, her pen hovering uselessly over the paper. An older woman sitting at the table next to her noticed Elena's frustration. She was perhaps in her mid-60s, elegant and graceful, with kind eyes and fingers that were stained with ink. "Excuse me?" the woman said gently. "I hope you do not mind me asking, but is that writer's block you are experiencing?" Elena laughed, but it was a bitter sound. "No," she replied, "it is not writer's block. It is more like life block, I suppose. I am trying to start something new, something I should have started 20 years ago, but I think it is too late now. I think I missed my chance." The older woman smiled warmly and asked, "May I join you for just a moment?" Elena nodded, grateful for any distraction from her blank page and her spiraling thoughts. The woman sat down across from Elena and placed a small potted plant on the table between them. It was just a tiny seedling, fragile and delicate, barely a few inches tall. "Do you know what this is?" the woman asked, gesturing to the little plant. Elena looked at it and shrugged. "It is a plant, I suppose. Just a seedling of some kind." "It is a Japanese maple seedling," the woman explained. "Do you know how long it takes for one of these to grow into a full, mature tree?" Elena shook her head. The woman leaned back in her chair and said, "Approximately 20 years. Sometimes even 30 years, depending on the conditions." She looked directly at Elena with those kind, knowing eyes. "If I plant this tiny seedling today, I will not see it fully grown until I am well into my 80s, maybe even my 90s if I am lucky enough to live that long. Some people would look at me and say, 'Why bother planting a tree you will barely see? You are too old to start something that takes that long.' But here is what those people do not understand." She leaned closer, and her voice became softer but more intense. "The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Yes, that is absolutely true. But the second best time to plant a tree is right now, today, this very moment. Because even if I only see this tree grow for 10 years, even if I never see it fully mature and reach its full height, I still get to watch it grow taller and stronger every single season. I still get to care for it and nurture it. I still get to know deep in my heart that I created something beautiful and lasting that will outlive me and provide shade and beauty for others long after I am gone." Elena stared at the tiny seedling, feeling something shift inside her chest. "Your dreams are exactly like this tree. the woman continued. You think it is too late for you because you are comparing yourself to people who planted their trees 20 years ago. You see their tall, mature trees and think you can never catch up. But those people did not have 20 years when they started either. They only had today, exactly like you have today right now. The woman pulled out a worn, well-used journal from her bag and opened it carefully. I am a writer, she said. I published my first novel when I was 54 years old. Can you imagine? A debut author at 54. The critics and publishers said I was too old to be starting a writing career at that age. But my readers did not care at all about how old I was. They only cared about whether my story moved them, whether it made them think and feel. She flipped through pages and pages of handwriting, years of work and dedication visible in those filled pages. I started writing seriously when I was 48 years old, she explained. 6 long years of learning and failing and trying again before I got that first book deal. People would ask me, why are you wasting your time on this dream at your age? Should you not be thinking about retirement and security? But here is what I learned during those 6 years. She looked at Elena with the kind of intensity that comes from someone sharing a truth that changed their entire life. There is no perfect age to start pursuing your dreams. There is no magical moment when everything aligns perfectly. There is only the age you happen to be right now, and the decision of whether or not to actually begin. You are not too old at 42, Elena. You are exactly the right age, because 42 is the age you are. And starting at 42 means you potentially have another 40 or even 50 years ahead of you to build something meaningful and beautiful. That is not too late. That is practically a whole lifetime ahead of you. But before you can start, the woman continued, you have to let go of 3 dangerous lies that you have been telling yourself, lies that are keeping you stuck and paralyzed. The first lie is this: everyone else started earlier than I did, so I can never catch up. That is simply not true. Yes, some people started earlier than you, but many people did not. A chef I know opened his first restaurant when he was 51 years old. A therapist I greatly admire went back to school and got her degree when she was 38. A teacher I respect deeply began teaching for the first time at 45. Success and fulfillment have no age limit. The only thing that has an age limit is starting, and you can start at any age. The second lie is this: I have wasted too much time already, so what is the point of starting now? But you have not wasted time, Elena. You have lived. You have learned. You have experienced things and become someone with depth and wisdom and knowledge. You are not starting from nothing and from zero. You are starting from 42 years of life experience and understanding. That is not a deficit or a disadvantage. That is actually a powerful advantage that younger people do not have yet. The third lie is this: it is too late for any of this to matter anymore. But if you live to be 80 years old, which is very possible, you have 38 whole years ahead of you. That is more time than most successful people had when they first started pursuing their dreams. The real question is not, is it too late? The real question is, will you actually start? Will you take that first step today? Elena left the coffee shop that afternoon holding the small seedling carefully in her hands, the woman having insisted she take it as a gift. When she got home, she planted it in a ceramic pot and placed it on the windowsill in her bedroom where she would see it every single day. Then she opened her laptop computer, created a new document, and wrote her first sentence in over 20 years, It was not a good sentence. In fact, it was quite terrible. She deleted it almost immediately, but then she wrote another sentence. This one was a little better. She decided to keep it. For the next 3 months, Elena wrote every single morning before going to work. Some days, she managed to write 100 words. Other days, she wrote more than 1,000. And some difficult days, she just stared at the screen for half an hour and wrote absolutely nothing at all. But she showed up. Every single day without exception, she opened that document and sat with her writing, whether the words came easily or not. She had expected to feel inspired and energized and full of creative passion. Instead, she felt clumsy and awkward, like a child who is just learning how to walk and keeps stumbling over their own feet. Her words felt forced and unnatural. Her stories felt thin and unconvincing. She wanted to quit and give up at least 100 different times. But every single time she thought to herself, "I am too old for this. I am wasting my time. I should just stop." She would look over at the Japanese maple seedling sitting on her windowsill. In those 3 months, it had grown maybe half an inch, barely noticeable unless you were really paying attention. But it was growing, slowly and steadily, just a tiny bit every single day. And so she kept writing. 6 months after she started, Elena finished her first complete short story. It was rough and imperfect and needed a lot of work. But it was complete. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. She read it over 3 times, made some corrections, and then did something that terrified her. She submitted it to a small online literary magazine. 2 weeks later, they sent her a rejection email. The story was not quite what they were looking for. They said politely, "Thank you for your submission, but we will have to pass." Elena cried when she read that rejection. She felt like a failure. She felt foolish for even trying. But then, after the tears stopped, she opened her laptop again and started writing another story. 1 year after her 42nd birthday, 1 full year of showing up every single morning and writing whether she felt like it or not, Elena received an email that made her hands shake as she read it. A literary journal that she had submitted a story to 3 months earlier wanted to publish her work. They loved it, they said. They wanted to feature it in their next quarterly issue. It would be her first publication. At the age of 43, Elena screamed out loud when she read the email. Then she cried, but this time they were completely different tears from the ones she had cried on her birthday. She called Maria immediately. "I did it." She sobbed into the phone, barely able to get the words out. "I actually did it. Someone wants to publish my story." Maria laughed with joy on the other end of the line. "You were never too old, Elena," she said warmly. "You just needed to start. That is all you ever needed to do. Just start." But Elena did not stop there. She kept writing consistently, day after day, month after month. At 44 years old, she published 3 more stories in different literary magazines. At 45, she signed with a literary agent who believed in her work and her potential. At 46 years old, she sold her first full-length novel to a publishing house. When the publisher asked her to write her author biography for the book jacket, she thought carefully about what she wanted to say. Finally, she wrote this. Elena began writing seriously at 42 years old, proving that it is never too late to start pursuing your dreams. She lives with her husband, her now 5-foot-tall Japanese maple tree, and the deep belief that the best chapters of life are often the ones you write last. At her book launch party 2 years later, 48 years old and holding her very first published novel in her hands, a young woman approached her nervously during the reception. "Excuse me," the woman said. "I just wanted to tell you that your story really inspired me. I am 32 years old and I want to write, but I feel like I have already missed my chance to start. Everyone else began in their 20s when they had more time and energy. Do you think it is too late for me?" Elena smiled, and in that moment, she thought about herself at 42, sitting on the bathroom floor and crying about wasted time. She thought about the tiny seedling that was now a beautiful young tree growing outside her bedroom window. "You have not missed anything at all," Elena told the young woman with complete conviction. "You are exactly on time. In fact, you are right where you need to be. Because the only time that truly matters is right now, this present moment. And right now, you can choose to begin." My friend, I want you to listen to me very carefully right now. Elena's story is not just about writing or publishing books. It is about every single dream that you have postponed and pushed aside because you think you are too old. It is about every passion you have buried deep inside because you believe that the perfect moment has already passed you by. So please, hear this truth clearly. There is no age that is too late to start pursuing what matters to you. You are not too old at 25 years of age. You are not too old at 35. You are not too old at 45 or 55 or 65 or even 75. You are only truly too late when you die with all your dreams and potential still locked inside you, unexpressed and unrealized. Let me share with you 5 important truths that you need to remember. First truth: time will pass whether you start pursuing your dream or not. In 5 years from today, you will be 5 years older no matter what you do. The only question is this: will you be 5 years closer to your dream and your goals, or will you be 5 years deeper into regret and wondering what if? Second truth: starting late is infinitely better than never starting at all. The world does not care when you begin your journey. It only cares about what you create and contribute once you actually do begin. Your age at the starting line does not determine your value at the finish line. Third truth: you are not starting from zero or from nothing. You are starting from decades of lived experience, accumulated wisdom, and hard-earned resilience. That is not a disadvantage or something to be ashamed of. That is power. That is strength. That is something that younger people do not have yet and cannot buy or learn quickly. Fourth truth: comparison is the thief of courage and confidence. Stop measuring your beginning against someone else's middle or ending. Stop looking at where other people are and feeling bad about where you are. Your only real competition is the person you were yesterday. Are you better today than you were yesterday? That is the only comparison that matters. Fifth truth: action creates confidence, not the other way around. You do not wait until you feel ready and confident to start. You will never feel completely ready. You start taking action despite your fear and doubt, and readiness and confidence come from the doing, not before it. So here's what I want you to do right now, today, before this day ends. I want you to think carefully about the dream you have been postponing, the one you keep telling yourself is too late for. Maybe it is starting your own business. Maybe it is learning to play a musical instrument. Maybe it is going back to school. Maybe it is writing a book like Elena did. Maybe it is changing careers completely. Maybe it is creating art or building something meaningful or finally pursuing that thing that makes your heart come alive. Whatever that dream is, I want you to take one small, concrete step toward it today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more ready. Today, right now. Write one single sentence if you want to be a writer. Make one phone call if you want to start a business. Research one class if you want to learn something new. Buy one book on the subject you are passionate about. Take one action, no matter how small it might seem. Because the difference between people who achieve their dreams and people who do not is not talent or intelligence or luck. It is not even age. The difference is simply this. The people who achieve their dreams are the people who start. They take that first step. They begin the journey, even when they are afraid, even when they feel too old, even when they do not feel ready. You are not too old right now. You have not wasted your time. It is not too late for you. The best chapter of your life, the most fulfilling and meaningful chapter, might be the one you have not even written yet. And today, whatever age you happen to be, is the absolutely perfect day to begin writing it. If this story reminded you that it is never too late to start, I hope you will share it with someone else who needs to hear this message today. Maybe someone who is feeling too old to chase their dream. Maybe someone who has given up hope and needs to be reminded that it is never too late. I will be back with another story to help you keep growing and moving forward. Until then, please remember this: the tree you plant today, even if it is just a tiny seedling, will provide shade and beauty tomorrow. But only if you actually plant it. Only if you take that first step. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait until you feel completely ready. Do not wait until you are younger, because that will never happen. Start today. Start right now. Start anyway, despite your fear and doubt. Your future self, the person you will become 5 years from now, 10 years from now, is counting on you to take that first step today. Do not let that future version of yourself down. Begin now.